Living on the Veg continues Sunday at 10:30. You were massive on YouTube. That's where you were born. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, the universe. But then ITV said, well, we'll have a bit of the Bosh Boys. And it's going very well, isn't it?
How cool is that? Yeah, we're really excited to have a show. And it's us. People can see us cooking. We're cooking loads of plant-based classics. So loads of your favourites from the Bosh books or the Bish Bash Bosh books. Mostly me and Ian just messing around in the kitchen. Yeah. But we have also got a load of stellar guests on as well. So it's been a real amazing experience.
Didn't get the invite, did you?
Must have
no,
been the junk
right,
mail.
Next time, hopefully we'll get another series.
Next time, you will definitely get another series because your audience share is huge, isn't it, on a Sunday morning?
It's a good time slot.
Is what I'm hearing.
We're not really into that stuff, but I think it's going well. Definitely, people love it on Twitter.
I know it's going well.
Oh, really? I think a good indication that it's doing well is my mum texted me on the Saturday following the first show, and she was like, "You're on the TV," and I was like, "Yeah, I know. Sunday morning is 10:30 a.m. ITV," and she was like, "No, right now it's Saturday," and so they're rerunning the show, which we didn't know was happening.
Well,
so
no,
that's
what they do. I mean, the thing with cookery shows, and there are some genres like this, usually factual entertainment. You'll be on the telly forever. Even if you just did these 8 shows, you could retire. You might as well just you can buy Dubai.
I'm not sure about that.
Definitely not there.
No, but the cookery shows run forever and ever. Right. What I used to love about James's show when he hosted Saturday Kitchen, as he did for 10, 11, 12 years, is that he used to then show in that vintage clips from other shows. Yeah. So you'd get Keith Floyd, and you'd get some classic Rick Stein as well. So when cookery shows can still show other cookery shows, it's a pretty solid bit of content there for the telly.
It is. And I think ours is pretty solid because it's the first vegan cooking show. Yeah. Which we're obviously very honoured to be a part of.
Can we just say well done and congratulations to whoever came up with the title Living on the Veg. I mean, come on. Who was that?
Do you know what? I think it was a collaboration. It was going to be Bosh Nosh, so that was being discussed.
Which is all right.
Is all right. But there's some connotations with that word. But Living on the Veg made a lot of sense to us, and it's just a cool pun as well, isn't it?
It was really John Bon Jovi.
Okay. Well, he's been responsible for many things.
Yeah.
What did he have for us? He had for us, It's My Laugh. We did a competition called It's My Laugh.
Nice.
Last week to promote Sky Comedy, their new channel. Right, so tell us about give some take-homes. What is the rainbow ratio about the 50-25-25 that you bang on about all the time?
Well, so, people eat plant-based and think that's healthy, but it doesn't have to be healthy. You can eat like loads of burgers and lasagnas, and that's probably not really what you should be eating. In fact, if you end up eating loads of beige food on a vegan diet, you might not be getting the right nutrients. So we like to say, eat the rainbow, get as much colour in as you can, and think about 50% of your plate being fruits and vegetables. About 25% should be whole grains, and about 25% should be protein. So that's like your beans, your pulses, your nuts, etc.
Okay, and you talk about fakeaways, don't you?
Fakeaways.
Do you talk about fakeaways?
We do, yes.
Okay, I thought it was a typo. No, they don't. They don't talk about fakeaways. So this is really embarrassing. Tell us about fakeaways.
So when we write our recipes, we always try and sort of hark back to what we used to eat and the sort of things that people don't want to miss. So we kind of recreate the things like your Chinese takeaway stuff or your curry or your pizza. So we try and get that hearty food that everyone's like used to eating and just make it plant-based.
Okay, so because we have an emotional connection with that, don't we? And that's the thing about food, isn't it? That's why it has such a hold over us.
Exactly.
We were talking a couple of days ago to another guest, the amazing Tony Riddle, and Tony was telling us about on those occasions where a little kid will fall over and maybe graze their knee and be in absolute floods of tears. Mum and dad, especially granddad and granddad, will go, "Oh, come here, sweetheart," and they'll dab the knee down. Say, "Come on, let's get you a chocolate bar or a bag of crisps."
Absolutely.
And so the emotional connection is Mars bar equals love, and you take that with you for the rest of your life, which is okay short term, but long term. No offense to Mars, let's substitute any kind of confectionery for any kind of brackets that you'd like, but may not be such a good message. So, but however, is you can replace
exactly
the emotional connection with some kind of healthy underbelly.
Exactly.
Not so much of the belly.
Even for us, being plant-based, it just makes sense. So, like fish and chips, I used to get that all the time on the way home from work after a bad day.
Yep.
Now we make tofu fish and chips, which is basically the same thing, but you've got tofu in the middle.
And you've got a whopping great naughty burger on the front cover of your book, for goodness sake.
You naughty burger. Tell us about fish and tofu. How do you say it? What's the best way to say it?
Tofu or tofish.
Tofish and chips. So the batter there is the thing that's going to interest me most, because that's the best bit of fish and chips.
Yeah, so the batter is you can use an ale with a bit of some milk and a little
Dairy-free
bit
milk,
of
some flour. It's
So we can
super
still
easy.
have proper batter.
It's the same,
of course. But the tofu is the main thing. It's like what you want to do with that is you want to press the firm tofu, and then you want to rehydrate it with a really nice flavouring, like wrap it in nori, freeze it off so it kind of expands, and then when you fry it, all the oil gets into the sort of fibres of the tofu, and it gives a really wonderful kind of fishy texture. Really, really delicious.
And now you're on mainstream telly. You know, your YouTube massive. You know, are they still in love with you, or are they outside your houses protesting, saying, you know, you've left us, you've deserted us?
I think our relationship with our audience is hopefully as strong as ever, and we'll keep making free recipes for them on our channels. You know, what we do is we make free videos. We'll keep doing that, and hopefully we'll keep engaging with them, and they'll keep liking it.
When you made your first ever video last
Yeah.
week, we played the first ever video that was uploaded to YouTube.
Amazing.
And it starred one of the founders of YouTube. It was 19 seconds, and it was him at a zoo.
In a zoo, that's right.
Because YouTube was originally intended to be a dating channel. And
Was
then,
it?
Yeah, and what they discovered was
Really?
that the mechanism of it was actually more popular for loading up clips of any sort, and they retained it, and they still own it, or they're still shareholders in it, and it was YouTube. But when you made your first ever YouTube video, did you make it with a phone or a camera or what?
We had a pretty solid camera setup, actually. It was a lot worse than the one we've got now, but we got a videographer in.
Oh, so you did?
We hired people to come and make it look really good. It still isn't good by our today's standards. Like, we've got a lot better. But no, we did it properly.
Yeah,
But that sort of guerrilla filming, you know, when the Beatles and Elvis Presley, when they recorded their amazing albums, it was a smaller studio. It was more things happening at once. It was, you know, all very sort of almost Neanderthal. You know, did you find that there's, because you've got to try and keep that rawness, because that in a way it's a bit rock and roll, it's a bit punk, isn't it?
That's right. I mean, what we basically did was like it was top-down videos, so it was a bit grainy. It wasn't the best sort of camera ever, but I think the reason why they really resonated with people because people could imagine themselves cooking the dishes from that top sort of
Quite
perspective.
Wayne's Worldy in a way.
Yeah, a little bit like that. Yeah.
Remember that first shoot? So we spent 3 days in the flat that we lived in together. It was the hottest day of summer, and we did 3 days back to back, 20 hours, 24 hours, 27 hours, which doesn't make sense because we did the extra
All I'm
day extra
imagining
long.
is the smell. There,
Oh,
right?
mate, it
What
wasn't
Big
good.
lights, 5 lads, and 20 recipes to film. So it was a really tough shoot, the first one.
Yeah, but it was well worth it.
Yeah.
Set us in good stead. We're not shy of a hard day's work.
Cooking on gas. Well, of course, if you're working hard at something you love, the time flies by. Or
does.
it can. Actually, somebody said the other day, time doesn't necessarily fly by when you're having fun, but time just changes when you're having fun. It can go slower, or it can go quicker. The point is, it's no longer clock time. It's psychological experience time.
You get into flow. don't
Flow-
you?
flow is exactly what it
When
is.
Everything just stops and you're not thinking about anything.
Good for you.
The Chris Evans Breakfast Show with Sky.